Hello, good day guys. So for your laboratory activity for today, so you're going to work on creating a network diagram using a wireless router. So basically we're going to do the DHCP's server configuration using your wireless device or wireless router. So since from the previous activity you already did a simple network diagram, but the IP addressing is manual or static. So this time we're going to use a wireless router, and we're going to also use wireless connectivity on networks. So I'll be giving you a network diagram, and you have to work on those diagrams depending on the requirements given on the activity list. So just work on it. So but before you do your activity, so I'll give you a short discussion on how to configure the router in terms of its wireless connection or connectivity, and also the DHCP service, and also the IP of the router. So I'll be giving you some configuration of the router for you to be able to create a network diagram. Okay, so you're going to start working with the activity for wireless networks. So those are simple diagrams which requires a wireless router to be your DHCP server. So this time all computers will be configured on a DHCP mode, so no static IP addressing. Okay, so for you to be able to configure a wireless device, always make sure to select the wireless devices, and then look for the Linksys WRT300N. So that will be the router that we're going to use on our network. So this is our router na gagamitin natin on our network. So basically that will work as a DHCP server, and that will provide IP address to computers on the network. At the same time also, it will be our wireless access point. So we're going to use that one for network connectivity on a wireless connection. Okay, so since we need since this is an access point, so we need a wireless device. So we're going to use a laptop. So on the end devices, kindly look for the generic laptop or the laptop-PT and place it on the workspace. Okay. So this laptop will connect to this access point. Okay, so this later I'll be configuring this access point. Okay, so you're going also to use a switch. So look for the switch. Then we're going to use the generic switch, or the switch-PT. Okay, then another computer. So a computer. So this is a wired device. So we're going to connect this one. So you can use the auto connect. Okay, so if the link doesn't turn into green immediately, you can always press the fast forward time several times. So it means that if there's a configuration going on the devices, it will fast forward the configuration. Para all of the configuration will automatically apply. Okay. So for the router to switch, you can use the crossover cable. For Cisco packet tracer, so yun yung ginagamit. So always remember that when we are connecting to Linksys, since we don't have the internet, so do not connect the cable on the internet port. Okay, so do not connect the cable on the internet port. Stick this one. Go to the Ethernet, any of the Ethernet port na available. So let's say for example this is Ethernet 1. Then connect it to the switch. Okay, on fast Ethernet. Okay, click fast forward again. So it will turn into blue. Always remember that our computer will now be on the DHCP mode. So it's no longer static. Just click DHCP. Okay, as you can see, it automatically has an IP on the computer. Okay, because we already connected the PC to the switch and the switch to the router. So the router is the one responsible on providing IP address to the computer. Okay, so as you can see that automatically this time we have the default gateway. So remember that this is the default gateway is always your router. Okay, so that is the default gateway's IP is the router. So basically you connect to a router with an IP address 192.168.0.1. So this is the only device or router which we have on the network. So basically, dito nanggagaling yung IP ng computer na to. Same as well with this one sa laptop. Okay, always remember the default gateway is your router's IP. Okay? So we can change that one if we can change the IP address. For example, if we need to change the network address for a particular network, let's say I don't want to use 192.168.0.100 on my network, so I can change that one by configuring the router. Okay, so let's start first with configuring the IP. Okay, you can just double click. Okay, as you can see, this is your router. Ito yung mga router nyo sa bahay. So this is how your router looks like at home. So basically, if you wanted to configure that one, it's either you connect to the wireless. If the wireless is available and you know the password, just connect on it, or using a patch cable or a Cat5 cable with an RJ45, connect to any LAN port here and connect it to your PC. Okay? Ulitin ko lang that for you to be able to configure your router, you have to connect it to any port on the router. So we have usually 4 LAN ports on the router and connect it to your computer. Okay, so that will be that's how you configure. So basically, the default gateway is your router's IP address. So meaning to say, this router do have the 192.168.0.1. Okay? So yun yung IP daw ng router na pinagkukuhanan mo ng DHCP or the router itself. Okay? So that IP will be the one that you're going to use for configuring the router. Okay? So plug it on the LAN port again. Zoom in. Plug anywhere on this 4 LAN port. Connect your PC here. Kung may cable ka, connect your PC papunta dito. Okay, look for the gateway. So in this case, this is 192.168.0.1. Open your browser and type 192.168.0.1 on your browser. Okay. For example, this is your web browser here. Type 192.168.0.1. Okay. So your router will ask for the authentication for the username and password. So usually for mga routers, the usual username is admin and the password is admin, or admin1234 or admin12345 or admin without password. Undi ko the possible authentication or authorization for routers, usually sa mga routers, that will be admin. The username is admin, the password is admin. The username is admin, the password is 1234. The username is admin, the password is 12345. The username is admin, and maybe some of the device does not have password on it or no password at all. Okay, so those are the possible password or authentication for routers. So dito ko this is your gateway. This is your gateway. Then type the 192.168.0.1. Then you will be prompted with authorization. So let's say, for example, I'll try admin, then admin again. Okay. So you will be directed to the interface of your router. So this is how you configure a router. Okay, as you can see, this is, sa internet natin, we don't have configuration. Okay, so since we don't have an internet to connect to the router, so just leave it as automatic. So this is the automatic configuration or DHCP configuration. So basically, if your internet provides an IP, so basically you can just set it to DHCP. So if your IP provides static IP, or usually ito yung mga naka-list line or may mga binibigay na IP address, so you can supply the IP address here, the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and the DNS. So if for our network design, we don't have an internet on the network, so just leave it as automatic. Okay, so this is the IP address of our router. This is the IP address of our router. Okay, this is the IP address of our router. That's 192.168.0.1. Okay, so you can change the value here. For example, if I wanted to make the IP addressing as 192.168.5.1, then save settings. Okay, I've saved the settings. Okay, so if I'm going to go to the computer again, then go to the IP address, then just, if you wanted to renew, just click static, then go bring it back to DHCP. Okay, what happens here is that your IP turns into 192.168.5.100, and now your gateway is 192.168.5.1 because we had changed the IP address of the router. Okay, so this time, since this is your computer, just click on the web browser. So this time you are no longer going to browse 192.168.0.1 because that is changed to 192.168.5.1. So this is 192.168.5.1. Okay, then admin, tab admin. Okay, so there you go. So this is your IP, the IP address of your router or the router's IP. So this is your DHCP settings. You can enable or disable. You can enable or disable the DHCP. If this is enabled, meaning to say this router will provide IP address to the network. And we have the starting IP address, that's 192.168.5.1. We can also change the starting IP. Let's say gawin natin 10. Okay, ibig sabihin ng starting IP, that is the first IP that na ipoprovide niya over the network. And the maximum number of user is 50. So you can change it 1 to 70. Okay, we have the static DNS. So since it automatically supplies the gateway, and the gagawin nyo na is just save settings. Okay, settings are successful. So kung kanina this is 100. If I'm going to click the static and make it DHCP again, so the IP address will be 192.168.5.10 because I've changed the configuration of the starting IP here. Okay, this is 10. Okay, you can always remember to save your settings. Okay, so next is we have the wireless. Okay, so sa wireless, just click wireless. Okay, so sa mixed mode we have the different types of or standards of network of wireless network. So just click mix na lang. Okay, so I'll be discussing that on lecture. So we have different network standards, but just leave it as mix para all of the standards is supported by this router. Okay, let's say the default name is PLV. Let's try this is let's try changing the network name as PLV. Okay, SSID broadcast, so meaning to say your network is visible. Okay, you can also disable on every router, you can disable the SSID broadcast. So halimbawa, if you don't want your neighborhood to check upon your or to see your or to have your wireless network visible, you can just disable this one. It doesn't mean you don't have wireless connection. It just means that your wireless name is hidden. Okay, but you can still connect that one by manually entering the network or the wireless network on your laptop or wireless devices. Okay, so you can enable the SSID broadcast or disable, but let's make it as enable. Okay, we have the standard channel. So these are mga tuner. I'll be discussing that on the lecture. Okay, so save settings. So we now have the SSID. This is your SSID or the network name. We change it to PLV. Then save settings. And continue. Okay, so basically you already changed the network name or the wireless name or the SSID of the router. So ang masasagap na niya or mabobroadcast is the PLV Wi-Fi. So kaya lang, this is an open Wi-Fi because we don't have security. Okay, just click on the security. Sorry, not on this portion. So below the wireless tab, so you have the basic wireless settings. Then click the wireless security. Okay, by default, this is disabled. So meaning to say there's no password on your Wi-Fi. So just click on this one. We're going to use the WP82 personal. Let's try the password PLV 12345. Okay. So let's supply the passphrase or the password PLV 12345. Then save settings. Okay. So meaning to say you have now configured the wireless network with the wireless name PLV and also with the wireless security PLV 12345. Okay, so always remember to save settings. Okay, so we're done with the wired network. So basically this do have IP on it. Okay, so what we're going to do next is we're going to connect this laptop to this router. So just click on the laptop. Okay, in Cisco Packet Tracer, kung mapapansin nyo that yung laptop does not have already the wireless connection. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the wireless network interface card to the laptop. Okay, you have the power button here. Just turn off the power button first. Okay, so I just have to zoom in. Okay, this is the power button. Pag naka-green, that is turned on. Pag wala yung indicator, so that is naka-turn off na. Okay, so there's a slot here. Okay, let's just remove this one because this is a wired network by default. So just click and drag it anywhere here on the side. Okay, so this will now be an empty slot. So what we're going to just click this one. This link says WPC 300N and place it here. Okay, so there you have your wireless network interface card. Just turn it on again. Turn it on again. Then click this one. Then go to, click on the laptop. Then click desktop. Okay, just click on the desktop. Then on this wireless symbol here, click this one. Okay, titik ulit. Just click on the laptop, go to the desktop tab, then click on the wireless symbol, then connect. Okay, you can just refresh. Okay, so the PLV Wi-Fi access point is already visible. Just click on this one, then connect. Then type the password, that will be PLV 12345. Then connect. Okay, just close. Okay, you now have the connection of the laptop. Okay? So, sa router, since this is a simulator, so pwede mo na lang din siya i-click, yung router. Just click the router. Okay, dito ko ulit. Just click on the router. Then, just click on the GUI tab. Then, you now have the configuration here. Okay? Always remember, you can enable and disable the DHCP. From, I think, some of your activity requires multiple routers. And always remember that you should have only one DHCP server on the network. Kasi if you have so many DHCP server, malilito yung computer kung saan niya dadalhin yung packet. Okay? Since this is just a simple network which requires an internet and a local area network, always remember that you should have a single DHCP. So for other routers na ang requirement is to turn off the DHCP, just click this one, disable, then save settings. Okay, just save settings. Okay, it means that the router which requires na naka-turn off in DHCP will no longer have the ability to provide IP to the network. Okay? Always remember that as much as possible, the DHCP server should be a single DHCP server over the network, or only one router or server would act as a DHCP server on the network. Okay? So that will be your guide for you to be able, our configuration guide for you to be able to design the network requirement based on the activity list. Okay, just work under activity. So save as according to the file name given and upload it to the canvas. Okay, so that will be all for my discussion. So hopefully this will guide you on your activity for today.